iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto from Scout Fantasy Sports, and it's time for Wednesday's podcast. So much to talk about. Let's see what's going on here in the world of fantasy football. Week 15, getting very close. Very close. Semifinals. We're touching it. Let's go through some of the guys who are practicing and not practicing. Maybe some people that I think might be playing this week and some guys I don't think will be playing this week. First of all, Dante Moncrief not practicing. Don't like him this week, even if he was practicing. He's got a hamstring injury and he gets to play the mighty Vikings pass defense. I want no part of Dante Moncrief. And when I look back on Dante Moncrief this year, I'm going to say to myself, it's an okay year. Not special. Right? Not special. I thought he'd be more of a breakout player. But what can I tell you? Am I drafting him in the third round again? No chance. No chance that's happening. Adrian Peterson returns to practice. Can be activated at any time, but he's now playing this week. Right now we're looking at week 16 against the Packers. We discussed that. And that's what I think is going to happen as of this minute. If they lose to the Colts, I don't know whether we see AP. For AP to play, the Vikings need to beat the Colts. So if Andrew Luck doesn't want to see Adrian Peterson, all he has to do is win the football game. Sammy Watkins, Roto, not practicing. I'm not worried about that. Let me see if he does it on Friday. All right, if he's practicing on Friday, then I'm okay. It says here that Byron Maxwell is going to shadow Brandon Marshall. Byron Maxwell stinks. He's terrible. But the problem is this. It's not that Byron Maxwell stinks. It's that Bryce Petty loves throwing to Robbie Anderson. So I think it's not that Byron Maxwell's covering Marshall. It's that Petty's not using Marshall. So if I owned Brandon Marshall, I would divest right now. Divest my shares of Brandon Marshall immediately, if not sooner. Okay? Next. Matt Moore starting. We know that. Okay? I happen to like Matt Moore. And I think he's a decent player. And I would just say, look, if this was on Sunday, I'd probably throw him in a GPP and say, what the heck? Since it's on Saturday, I probably won't touch it with a 20-foot pole. I don't need it. I don't need this one. But I do like Matt Moore as a player. I don't think he's that bad. Matt Forte not practicing. I don't know. I do not expect to see him playing. But I like Bilal Powell this week. Could you imagine that this year it's going to come down to Bilal Powell winning people weeks? Isn't it amazing? You draft all these players, Le'Veon Bell, Jeremy Hill, Ezekiel Elliott. It all comes down to Bilal Powell. Unreal. It's mind-boggling. Really is. Zach Zenner is in concussion protocol. Darren Sproles. I don't think we're going to see Darren Sproles. Right now, they brought up Byron Marshall. I told you that was going to happen. So I think this is Ryan Matthews, but I want no part of the Philadelphia run game this week. None. Zero. Nada. Not interested. Not interested. All right? Julio Jones, there's a report that's saying that he's battling a toe sprain, not turf toe. All I know is it's like Sergeant Hulka's big toe. It's getting lodged up some winger's butt. All right, this is not good, and I'm still worried. And I'm really thinking that Julio Jones may not play this week. And I'm going to tell you why. Do you think they need Julio Jones to beat the 49ers? Because I don't. They'll play a little Justin Hardy, a little Taylor Gabriel, a little Devonta Freeman, a little Tevin Coleman. You don't need Julio Jones this week. You still get the win. You still get the win. I know Julio wants to play, but I don't think you need him to play. And if you don't need him to play, that's a problem. Speaking of guys who probably won't play, I think Michael Floyd is in big trouble. Michael Floyd, when you're getting arrested for drunk driving during the season, I got to tell you the following. You are a knucklehead of epic proportions. Right? You want to drink? Go drink. Take an Uber. Call an Uber, Michael Floyd. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a mess. Wasn't he like drunk at some light, at some stop or something ridiculous like that? I mean, this guy's insane. Seriously, I'm trying to get the news here on it. Michael Floyd player news. It was a mental case here. He was found unconscious at the wheel at 2:48 a.m. in Scottsdale. He'd been charged with 2 counts of DUI and 1 count of obstructing a roadway and failure to obey a police officer. He wasn't a failure to obey. He was passed out probably at the wheel. They said, "Excuse me, sir, get up." And he was passed out. Really? Obstructing a roadway, his car is probably like in front of a crossroad. The guy's an idiot. You're going for a contract. You're in a contract year, and this is what you do? How stupid are you? Seriously, you're a free agent in 2017, and you're going to get busted for drunk driving. Really? Is your life that bad? Seriously, Michael Floyd. And by the way, how much do I like J.J. Nelson this week? I like J.J. Nelson without him. Without Michael Floyd. So I'm definitely liking J.J. Nelson. So I just think J.J. Nelson's a sneaky start this week. I do. Very sneaky. But Michael Floyd, what a train wreck. Seriously. This is the season. You're a free agent. People understand you drink a little bit. Okay, get into an Uber. Don't ruin people's fantasy rosters. And by the way, if you're rostering Michael Floyd, what are you thinking? Guy stinks. Really, he stinks. All right, Ty Montgomery is officially listed as the number 2 running back on the unofficial Packer depth chart. James Starks is the one. James Starks is awful. James Starks, I don't even know if there's a job for him in the NFL. I guess there is as a third running back somewhere. It shouldn't be on any reasonable team. He's that bad. He's that bad. But could you imagine this team with Eddie Lacy and Ty Montgomery? That's pretty good. I could get into that. I can get into that. I think that's pretty good. Let me give you a name, by the way. Troymaine Pope is on the injured reserve with an ankle injury. So I'm just throwing a name out there. How about Marcel Reese? Did you guys see that Marcel Reese was signed by the Seahawks? Marcel Reese, whenever given the opportunity, always does something good. So, God forbid, Thomas Rawls gets injured. I don't know whether Alex Collins is the guy as much as Marcel Reese might be the guy. That's the guy I'm watching. All right, by the way, Mike Nugent cut. Mike Nugent was just bad. And then they bring in Randy Bullock, and you know what? He's bad too. He's bad too. So, buy Mike Nugent. I guess you'll kick somewhere. I guess you'll kick somewhere at some point. Just won't be in any team that I want to root for. All right, Braxton Miller, injured reserve with a shoulder injury. What did he even do this year? I think did he catch for 100 yards? I'm not sure if he caught for 100 yards. I think this was a bad idea there. I don't really like bringing in players who switch positions and then make them starters. I don't know. I think he's a gadget guy. See, the Steelers were brilliant with Antoine Randall. They used him brilliantly. They used him as a gadget guy and as a 4th receiver. That's what Braxton Miller is to me. He's a 4th guy. Is he a starter? I don't think so. You want to be starting Braxton Miller? You start Braxton Miller. I don't know how deep you're going in the playoffs. So let's look at the waiver wire. It's Waiver Wire Wednesday. I'll give you a few names because most leagues are not doing any waiver wire moves right now. But at quarterback, I think we have to start out with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is playing a little bit better. Okay. He had 324 yards this week. He gets to play the Eagles, who are reeling defensively. So I've got to think Flacco's in play. Trevor Siemian in play. Absolutely in play this week. New England, tough matchup, yes, but I think New England's going to stop the football. They're going to. I don't know. I think they're going to make him beat him with the pass, and I think they've got good guys with to cover Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I think Sam Bradford is interesting this week against the Colts. Colts not very good. I definitely will have one GPP with Sam Bradford on it. How about Alex Smith? I know Alex Smith is a mess, but Tennessee's pass defense not very good. Not very good. So I like him. Unless the game is a blowout, then I hate him. How about Carson Wentz? You can't run against the Ravens, so he might just have to pass. I think he's interesting as well. At running back, I mentioned Bilal Powell. I would say there's a 95% chance that he starts this week. I don't think that Forte's going in, considering Forte's done. Considering the Jets' year is done. This is Powell, more Powell, and a little bit of Powell. So you know what? I might start Powell. Kenneth Dixon. We've been waiting for Kenneth Dixon all season long, and it looks like he's the guy. So I like him. I think if he's out there for some miracle, I would pick him up. Kenneth Farrow. Keep your eye on the Farrow, right? I like him. I don't know whether or not Melvin Gordon's playing. I can't imagine that he does. He's got a hip injury. I know there's Ronnie Hillman there, and Farrow is not really good in pass protection, but he can run a little bit. He can catch a little bit, and Ronnie Hillman is a train wreck. Okay? Not necessarily in that order. Run a little bit, catch a little bit, train wreck a little bit. There you go. So, not liking him. How about my guy, Jason Braddock? Always loves the little Rex Burkhead action. He is the absolute number 2 guy there, so maybe, just maybe, you need him. Let's see. Dwayne Washington is interesting. Zach Zenner in concussion protocol. Theo Riddick not 100%. I think the Theo Riddick plays this week. I do. I think he plays this week. Let's get to wide receivers. First of all, Alshon Jeffrey is back. And I think that he's going to have a role in this offense. Who are they going to play? Josh Bellamy? Please. Alshon Jeffrey has a great shot this week to be useful. So if you have him, play him. Malcolm Mitchell. I love Malcolm Mitchell. I don't love him this week. I really am worried about this game, but how could I ever sit anybody on New England? I can't. I can't sit anybody in New England. I can't. Even though they're playing Denver. Now, it may not be a high-scoring game, but I'm not sitting anybody, because if anybody can figure out how to get it done, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady will figure out how to get it done. Taylor Gabriel, I can't believe he's available in the league, but if he is, I don't know whether Julio Jones Roto plays. Adam Thielen, been very good. Robbie Anderson, had 11 targets, had close to 80% of the snaps. So he's somebody on my short list. How about Marquise Lee? We've been talking about him forever. No Allen Hurns. I've got to think that he's still interesting, even though I do worry about his matchup as well. J.J. Nelson, I gave you that name. He's a guy on my short list this week. I've got to think Michael Knucklehead Floyd is out. Chase basically for being a knucklehead. John Brown still dealing with sickle cell. So you got Larry Fitzgerald and you got J.J. Nelson. I think he's interesting. All right, at tight end, Ladarius Green. He's the only guy I'm really looking at. Cincinnati, not very good against covering the tight end. So with that in mind, I think that makes a good play. Jermaine Gresham, very interesting. Been good for the last few weeks. How about Trey Burton? Trey Burton's been pretty good. Out of the University of Florida. Go Gators. 6'3", 235. He's athletic. I mean, I know Zach Ertz is there, but hey, if you need a guy, sometimes you need a guy. Got a guy who needs a guy. You know a guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's somebody on my short list. For defenses this week, I think it's all about the matchups. Obviously, I am 100% a believer of the Buffalo Bills this week. Obviously, I like Atlanta this week. I love me some Seattle Seahawks this week. Right? Like that one a lot. I'm trying to think of any other ones. Houston against Jacksonville. You know I hate Blake Bortles like poison. So those are my defenses of the week. Baltimore, maybe. If at home they need this win, Carson Wentz, could have a bad week. I think Carson Wentz has done a really good job on the whole, but look, not easy. Hasn't been an easy rookie year for him, so we got to take a look at that. Let's see. In terms of other things that are out there, we can start to look at Week 16, but I don't like to do that. When I get in the playoffs, I need to just be focused on one game at a time. Unless I can only pick up moves this week and that apply for next week, then I'll look in conjunction for the 2 weeks, right? San Francisco, Atlanta, LA, okay. Seattle, LA, Arizona, I'll think like that. But I really want to focus 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time allows me to just concentrate on this week. And I haven't really gotten into a lot of the matchups yet. I really haven't looked at that. But I want to start doing that just a little bit today. I'm going to do it for a mere second. And I want to get into just teams and guys. So running backs who have good matchups this week. Okay? The 49ers are terrible against the run. So let's be looking Falcons. The Browns are horrific against the run. Let's look at the Bills. The Falcons are terrible against the run. Let's look at the 49ers. So Freeman, McCoy, Hyde. In terms of teams that are very good against the run, the Ravens, we know to avoid Ryan Matthews. The Cardinals, avoid Mark Ingram. Seattle, avoid Todd Gurley. These are the things that just shout out at me. Titans, not very good against a wide receiver. I think Kansas City, whether it's Tyreek Hill or Jeremy Maclin, should have good weeks. The Eagles, not very good against wide receivers. But who's going to step up for the Ravens? Maybe Mike Wallace. The 49ers, who's going to step up for Atlanta? Obviously Julio Jones if he plays, but I really like Taylor Gabriel. Who's tough against the wide receivers? The Broncos are, so I'm worried about New England. The Vikings are, I'm worried about the Colts. And the Bengals are, and I'm worried about Pittsburgh. And let me tell you something. If you own Antonio Brown this week, you better be a little nervous. Because Terrell Pryor was shut down last week by the Bengals. So I'm not all in on Antonio Brown this week. I'm really not. I love Antonio Brown, but this could be like a 6 for 60 week. Not too much better than that. Tight end, Jordan Reed, I'm in. Charles Clay, I think, is sneaky. We know the Lions stink, so how about Will Tye? Maybe even Ladarius Green, because the Bengals are weak. Who's good against a tight end? The Cardinals are, so I don't like Kobe Fleener. The Eagles are, so forget Dennis Pitta. And the Chiefs are, so I'm not liking Delaney Walker. And this is very frustrating because, you get to the week 15 and you've got Kobe Fleener and you're like, oh man, the Cardinals have the best pass defense against tight ends in the league. What do? You bench Kobe Fleener. That's what you do. That's exactly what you do. You don't stick a round object into a square hole because it doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Sorry, little OJ humor there. All right, but right now what I'd like you to do is to go to scoutfantasy.com. Enter the promo code ROTO. That's ROTO. You pay for 1 month. We get you 2 more for free. And you know what else we'll be talking about? We'll be talking about the Beat Dr. Roto Playoff Challenge. You enter for free. And if you win, you get a free entry into the 2017 Online Championship. It's valued at $299. Maybe you come in second. You get a free year of Scout. Third through, you have 50 places of credits there. And here's what you do. You pick your fantasy team. The team is the same throughout the playoffs. No waivers, no changes, no salary cap. But you can't use more than 1 player per team during the playoffs. I'm just going to say something to you there. You know who won this league a couple of years ago? Oh, let me think. Dr. Roto. So be careful. I'd love to have you in the league, but don't just think you're going to come in and you're going to win, because that's not how it works. My job is to make sure you don't win. All right? Not that I don't want you to win, but hey, as I tell Dr. Roto Jr., I'm never letting you win, because when you beat me one day, you'll have earned it. All right, so you're going to go to scoutfantasy.com, enter the promo code ROTO, that's ROTO, pay for 1 month, you get 2 more for free. Of course, check out our Scout scores up daily for NBA, and of course, Dr. Pucks himself, Cappy, doing a great job with NHL, and Y2KC for MMA, and our boy Kickman doing some great stuff. So please check out all the great stuff we're doing at scoutfantasy.com. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I wish you a great day. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Thursday night game, other news and notes, practice news and notes. We'll get it done for you. That's how we roll here. This is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!